let me share a whiteboard on which let us have a quick discussion. Okay, so the basics. Evaluation is one of the important aspect of a Toastmaster meeting. As you know, that first we need to hear the prepared speech, and then the evaluator comes in to provide the evaluation. The duration, irrespective of how much the speaker has to speak, whether it is a 4 to 6 minute or it is an 18-minute, it doesn't matter. But the evaluation is always from 2 to 3 minutes with 30-second grace time, right? And the role of an evaluator does not start after the meeting has started. It starts well before the meeting. So which means the VP education should have identified the evaluator well in advance, tell them who is the speaker whose project this particular evaluator is going to evaluate. Then the evaluator should approach the speaker, request the evaluation form, the project details, take a look at it and understand what is that project all about. Because you cannot grasp all the technical aspects of a speech right in that moment. Our mind will be wavering all over the place, trying to listen to the speaker and also try to understand what the evaluation is to be done. And then the nervousness, oh, how am I going to present my points? All this will be happening when the speaker is speaking. So an evaluator also needs a little bit of preparation. So here comes the first point. Pre-meeting is catch up with the speaker and request project details, the speech project details. Go through the project details. If you want, you can further have a quick discussion with the speaker to understand what the speech is all about. And under very rare occasions, even the script is shared, but that is optional, totally optional. So these two things must be done so that you are well prepared as an evaluator to listen to the speech. Now, during the meeting, what you need to do? Be a listener. I know it's easier said than done, but our focus has to be on listening to what the speaker is speaking and not try to judge or be focused on picking up the negative points. Because the more we are focused on that, we will be distracted from the essence of what the speech is all about. And while the speech is going on, it is all right to take some notes. Now, from my experience, I would like to share some basic techniques that you can follow during the speech is going on to capture some of the key aspects. Then, after the speech has been delivered and when it is your turn to evaluate, then first request is that please respect the time that is being provided for evaluation, right? Now, even though the red card is up and you know the time is over for you to finish and wind up within 30 seconds, still sometimes some Toastmasters get carried away and they continue on and on and on, giving more and more suggestions and feedback and observation and pointing out the mistakes. That kind of kills the spirit of the speaker. Okay, so please focus only on the points which will be covered within the 2 to 3 minute window that you have for the purpose of evaluation. Now, you might be a sharp listener. You might have noted down 20 things. Now, can we follow the rule of more the better? What do you think? Can our audience unmute and speak up? Is that possible? So some interaction will also be great. If I'm looking away, please speak out. I just have multiple screens, so I have to switch windows to speak. That is the thing. So I'm back here. Yes, any thoughts about more feedback will be a better feedback? What is your?
No, I feel too many things to talk about would be not a good idea because we won't be able to focus on the positive points more. So we should do very precise
Yes,
and talk about the positive points for motivational factors because that is very important for speakers to go ahead in Toastmaster journey.
absolutely. So it's really important that we focus on what is really important to be conveyed during that 2 to 3 minutes. Now, here is another common practice, more common than what we would want. An evaluator role normally is carried out as if that in that 2 to 3 minutes, whatever I had to convey, I just did it and my job is done. Now it is up to the speaker to figure out whether they want to accept our feedback or not. But that is not the case. If you have some elaborate discussion to be had with the speaker, then you may do so after the meeting. So during the meeting and during the evaluation slot, please focus on the key points. And as you know, that even in a prepared speech, we follow the rule of three, where we say try to keep everything within 3 points or three headings and three subheadings. We can follow a very similar approach even for evaluation. Try to stick to key points, irrespective whether it is the appreciation or what was good about the speech, or whether it is about your recommendation of what can be done better in that particular speech. So that way, it is not only for the speaker, and it is absolutely okay to point at the speaker and say, Toastmaster Santosh, I'm really glad you delivered a fantastic speech today. And in this speech, these are the things which I liked. And these are the areas which I believe can be done even better. And here are the suggestions which I would have followed in this kind of a project. Okay, so which brings us to another point, following the I technique. Honestly, this is a more of an American way of speaking, where they say, if I were you, this is what I would do. And now, here conducting a formal session, it is my responsibility to suggest that. But honestly, I think in our English way of speaking, we are normally say, you should do this, you should do that. Maybe you could try this, right? So that kind of happens. But please do remember that using an I way of speaking, say that this is what I would have done. This is what I believe is a better way of speaking. It is not to directly point at their face and say, you did something wrong. We don't want to hear such a comment. So obviously, we don't want to say such a thing to anybody's face. So any questions on what needs to be focused upon during the meeting? I've tried to limit the number of points. As you can see, I'm trying to restrict it to 3 myself. Listen, take notes, and limit it to 3 key points, whether it is appreciation or recommendation. After the meeting, depending upon how much we are really involved in helping the betterment of the speaker, we can catch up over a phone call, or maybe after the meeting is over a coffee. I've had mentors, we used to, even we have gone for dinner after the meeting is over, and we have a long nice chat where we get to hear the senior Toastmasters experience, how to prepare for contests, and all their amazing experience during the events, etc. So that kind of makes you part of the overall Toastmaster family. If not that friendly, you can still have a short call in which you might want to add the additional points which you had observed but probably did not share during the evaluation. Okay, and some of the points which might be a bit too strong and probably not recommended to be said during the evaluation itself. Let's remember that The purpose of evaluation is to motivate the speaker to come back and speak again. They should not say, why are you even bothering to speak? I think you should probably give up the dream of becoming a better speaker. You are thousands of miles away from even becoming even a basic speaker. Why are you trying? That kind of in the face thing is not going to help anybody. We are not there for that. Our goal should be to motivate the person that yes, I gave a speech, not the perfect one. I made mistakes, but that's okay. I'm going to come back and improve and do a better job. That should be our ultimate goal when we are giving our evaluation to the speaker. Now, even though I would like to say in my Toastmaster experience, this has been kind of very optional. And mostly what I have observed is it comes down to the speaker who calls up and says, they say, Arvind, thank you very much for the feedback. I didn't know I was uh, not taking care of these aspects. I will definitely try to work on that and so on. Right. So in that case, if they volunteer to come and ask questions, you can feel free to share those additional points. Now, what are the things that we need to be careful about to avoid? An evaluation is not a speech. Please remember that. An evaluation is an evaluation. It is not the opportunity for you to demonstrate how good you are as a speaker. It can be quite formal. You can carry your notepad with the points, look at the point and explain it to the speaker while the other audience are also taking learnings from what you have to share. Do not try to make it into a speech in itself. That kind of takes away the highlight of what the speaker did as opposed to what you are doing as an evaluator. Another important point which I've already mentioned is not to exceed the time limit, focus on the key points and limit to that, and avoid using any too strong or extremely negative statements which might kind of offend the speaker. During a post meeting discussion, if the speaker says, you know what, I didn't like what you just said, I think I did perfect justice to the project, but your evaluation was kind of biased. Please, you as an evaluator, do not get offended. Everybody is here for learning. If that's what the speaker felt and they choose to reject your some of your feedback points, that's okay. You might want to just leave it at saying that, okay, maybe I got biased. And last, and the very important point is that you are evaluating the speech and not the speaker. Please do not get too personal into the aspects of the speaker. Keep the focus on the speech and try to share your evaluation on the content part, which is aligned to the project and the delivery aspect. Now we will take a quick look at what are those technical parameters. Now that I have covered the ground of what the big picture of evaluation looks like, now we will look into those technical aspects of what an evaluator must look for in a speaker's speech, or basically a speech. So I would like to give you a minute if you have any questions, comments before we proceed.
Yeah, Arvind, I just wanted to ask one thing. You said we should avoid using I language. I would have done.
No, no, we have to use I
We
language.
have to do that. Okay.
Yes, we
Thank
have
you.
to use I language to say, this is what I believe is the right way of doing it. If I was in that particular situation, this is how I would have done it.
Okay. Thank you.
So you are giving a very subtle way of suggestion. It's just a suggestion. Let's remember that. We are also there as a learner. So we should not get carried away and start bashing up the speaker. So, and I trying to say that if it's applicable for me, probably you might want to consider it.
Thank you. Thanks, Arvind.
Welcome. Any other questions, comments? Let me bring up all the key points on the screen. I hope my handwriting is tolerable.
Yes, yes. It's quite legible, don't worry.
Great.
I think we can proceed.
Okay. Thank you. So moving on, the next important point which I would like to share is that from my experience, again, it is totally what I have experienced over the years as a Toastmaster. An evaluation during a regular meeting and an evaluation contest has been totally two different playgrounds. So what will be of high value during a meeting, that is in terms of the feedback that we give to the speaker, may not necessarily cut the deal in winning you an evaluation contest. Okay, so first let's cover the ground for how we have to proceed and give the evaluation for a regular meeting. Now here comes one human aspect which I want to highlight. Many times Toastmasters, especially those who have recently started their journey, believe that I myself don't know how to speak. How am I even going to evaluate? I am not an expert. No, nobody is an expert here. Everybody has come to learn many aspects of speaking, and giving feedback is one of the very important skills, not only in communication, but also from a leadership perspective. So it is absolutely okay if we end up making some mistakes in our evaluation. That is absolutely okay. So we first need to overcome that mindset that I am not a good speaker, or I myself am still learning the nuances of speaking. How am I even going to evaluate others? Maybe I will finish some six speeches and then probably I will consider that. You don't have to do it. The very next topic, probably one speech, if at all you really want to be to do justice to that role. One or two speeches is absolutely fine. But as part of your learning curve, please go ahead and take up the evaluation role. Let's not fill up the time of that. Okay, maybe in that don'ts I missed out, it just popped up, is you do not have to do a recap of the speech. That's not necessary. We might miss a few seconds. Let's not exceed the time limit, and don't list 101 points. As in, try to limit it to the key points which you believe. Okay, now coming to the aspect of evaluation. Now I would like to read out the project objective of the speech that Toastmaster Santosh is going to deliver for us now. Just give me a moment. I have to switch windows here and let me see if I've got it with me. Okay, so the speech which Toastmaster Santosh is going to deliver is about understanding your leadership style. The purpose of this speech is for the member to identify his or her primary leadership style or styles. The purpose of this speech is for the member to share some aspect of his or her primary leadership style or discuss leadership styles in general. And in that evaluation form, as per what we have in the new pathways, there are certain notes given to the evaluator. It is best if we go through that even before the meeting itself, so that we are mentally prepared on what aspects we need to focus on. Now coming to those technical aspects of what you need to observe during a speech. As someone in the audience, was that speech easy to follow? Which means the audio has to be clear. I may not be too worried if Santosh face is not very bright on the screen for a virtual meeting, but still clarity in the voice and the language is important. Then Eye contact, as you all know, is important if we want to really connect with the audience. So if the speaker is going to be looking at the ceiling, was probably look all around except by trying avoiding the eye contact with the audience or with the camera, you are not going to feel connected. And you will feel that when that speaker is speaking. So that's absolutely okay to note it down. And the body language aspect of it in terms of the gestures, facial expressions. What do you feel about them? Was it too much, too less, or do you feel that whatever the gestures that the speaker followed was well aligned to the speech that they delivered? And lastly, was the speaker genuinely interested in the audience awareness? Now, it's kind of tricky in an virtual environment where everybody has got their cameras off, but I'm sure you will be able to feel that sitting in the audience of how much you could connect with the speaker. So these are the aspects under which we are going to evaluate Toastmaster Santosh speech. Now, if I have to share this evaluation form with my model evaluators, can we go ahead and do it? If that is the way I can, Santosh, could you please forward that to Kavita? Or maybe I can do it. Let me
Okay.
share.
I'll do that. You meanwhile, I know three of them. I can just share them on WhatsApp. Just proceed
Yeah,
with the video.
please
Yeah,
share this evaluation form with them.
can be done.
Now, coming to the last action, I promise that I will give you a certain technique that can be followed. Okay, because you can't be busy writing, like taking notes when the speaker is missing. By the time you finished one note, you might have missed half of what the speaker had to say. So here is what I would suggest. Again, please consider it if you believe this is helping. We will just keep a quadrant. In that quadrant, I am going to keep a few points which I might want to observe. First thing, you want to highlight the strengths. So what is that you want the speaker to do more of, right? Because you are doing it well, you want the speaker to do more of that. What is that speaker is doing it really well and you want that speaker to maintain it? What do you think the speaker might want to avoid in the future speeches? And something that needs to be adjusted. Now, when you have such a quadrant, you might want to just note down what do you want to do, the speaker should do more of. Maybe the speaker should add more humor. What the speaker is doing really well, the voice is loud and clear. What do you want the speaker to try to do, reduce less? Maybe that avoiding aspect of eye contact. And what the speaker should stop is probably using too much of vernacular if that's not okay for that speech, or using examples which the audience could not understand, because it kind of kills the whole purpose of why you are speaking there. Whatever is your gut feel during that speech is going on, please go ahead and observe that and write down the keywords. And without too much pressure of how beautifully you construct the sentence, please remember evaluation is not a speech. You just pick these points and share at least three of them, and the rest you can have it after the meeting is over. Any questions? Shall we move on to Toastmaster Santosh speech now, especially my model evaluators, volunteers?
I've just shared the evaluation sheet on the chat box. So anybody who wants to have can have a look at it directly. Please proceed.
Okay. The speech is for 5 to 7 minutes. Do we have a timer here?
Maybe
Yeah, excuse me.
volunteer.
Yes, yes, Pankaj.
Yeah, I could not see the evaluation format that was shared by.
It's there in the chat window.
Chat window.
Or else,
Pallavi,
what you can do is you can copy those 2 lines. You can put it the text directly in the box as well.
I'll do that.
Yeah, I will take care of timer. Role of
Thank you.
timer.
Thank you.
Okay. You will be sharing the timer screen, right? Once can I test it? We can test the timer once.
We will get late then.
Can someone try for me like sharing that I can, but I can take like offline role like at my end.
I'll share it. Wait a minute, give me a second, I'll share that also.
Okay.
Okay.
Just let me know when you can see the white screen.
Yes, I can see the white screen.
Yeah, I can see.
Thank you. So I will.
Yeah, before you start, Pallavi, can you just share this with Pankaj also, the evaluation sheet? Because I'm sharing the screen. So
Yeah, I
you can
will.
share.
I will.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Go ahead, Santosh.
Okay. James Hume said, "The art of communication is the language of leadership." And while doing this project, I also got an experience and an exposure and a retrospection to how I have been as a leader till date. During this process, I have delved into my childhood, my college days, the moment I started to work, and also the moment when I joined Toastmasters and how Toastmasters have changed my perspective towards leadership. I got my first opportunity to be a leader. Rather, I grabbed that opportunity when I was in class 6. That was the time when the nominations for class representative role were out, and I have enthusiastically applied for one reason. During our annual day function, they used to felicitate the class representatives. Now that attention seeking nature made me do so. However, I was rejected because they felt for that age I was not that matured and I was a bit passive, which is true to an extent. I also understood that okay, I have not become the class representative. I repented and then I felt envy of the person who became the class representative for a few months and I moved on. And after that, the grill of intermediate, the grill of 10th standard, everything went on. And that could not give me any opportunity to take up any kind of leadership role. And then I got my second opportunity to take a role when I was in my engineering college, first year, second semester. Again, this was out of a gang war that was happening between two gangs. It was thought that every time a person from this particular gang A is becoming the class representative. So they thought, okay, let us choose someone from a different gang, and they made me the class representative. And do you know the first major project that I took? It was bunking the class in mass. My class of 65 other people, students came to me and requested me, Santosh, we are not interested in classes today. What can you do? Even I was desperate to break the record of previous class representatives who made sure that we had 45 mass bunks in the last semester. I enthusiastically agreed and made sure that we bunked in mass. But that led to a big problem later on. One of the students who was roaming in the corridor was got caught by our vice principal, and he created a ruckus, and he started telling that you guys have to get a letter of intent from your parents that you are not going to repeat this again and ever. And then they kind of terminated or expelled our class for a temporary basis for almost 15 days. And those were the days I had to approach my vice principal. I had to speak to him, and he was an experienced person, a doctorate. And as I mentioned earlier, my passive nature was not allowing me to do. I felt more nervous than I gave my icebreaker at Toastmasters Club when I had to meet that person. So I went to my vice principal, somehow I took the help of others, and we came out of that situation. A lesson was learned that use your leadership capabilities by following ethics, by following the rules and the processes. Bunking in mass is not a good practice. So finally, I thought that this is going to be a risky job because my friends will keep on asking me to do such mischievous things, and I left my role of class representative in college. And I forgot to tell you one thing, that I am the youngest kid in my family, which meant that even at my home, I never had an opportunity of being a leader by doing a sacrifice. By sacrifice, I do not mean sacrificing my life, my hand, my eye, or something. No, sacrificing simple things like if I have a chocolate, I have to give it to some other person, my sister or a sibling who is younger to me. But whereas I am the youngest kid, so I had that liberty and the happiness of taking everything but not giving. Now, this one point I started to learn when I left my house and started living alone in a different city. And there I understood that adjusting with roommates, adjusting with people, and also doing things is also a kind of leadership. Coming to my workplace, I work in IT industry. And in my first year, I had a hedonic boss. I still remember one day I was having a lot of pending work, and I was not aware that bosses normally bash up, even though you are doing an extraordinary job. He simply bashed me up, and I literally cried on that day. And once I came back home, I thought, okay, I have to leave this job, or probably I don't work or do some business or something. But again, my passive nature did not allow me to do that. And once I became a lead at my work, today I ensure that I consider the opinion of people, because I don't want to get that option where don't want to repeat that mistake wherein without considering the rules, the procedures wherein I made a mass bunk, or without considering the feelings or emotions of others, I take my own decision or bash others and make them feel bad. And hence, I have a quality of being a democratic leader. Also, working in a technical domain, I also had an opportunity to help. They call it knowledge transfer in IT terms, to give knowledge transfer to 5 associates sitting in a different location, Indore. Before 2 years, when I had to do that, I used my skills that I acquired in Toastmasters. And even though I am a junior associate in my organization, they gave me an opportunity to help them. And I can proudly say that today they are all doing very good. when compared to others. I don't want to compare, but yes, when compared to others. So my one more quality of leadership is coaching. And of course, in democratic and coaching, I am also a person who strives to be an affiliative leader. That means I see through the feelings of others. Toastmasters have helped me nurture my affiliative leadership more and also become a bit more assertive. So this is what my leadership style is: democratic, coaching, and affiliative. Thank you.
Um,
Thank you, Toastmaster Santosh.
Santosh took 7 minutes,
Now
20 seconds.
we have about 10 minutes
In
of speech based on those elements what we have just discussed, putting through that quadrant of points which I was trying to write down. I'm sorry, but the background is kind of causing this whole blur. So I have these 4 quadrants here where I have identified some of those things which I really liked. I've said, Santosh, keep them. You are really good at those things. And then some aspect which I felt for a speech could have been even better and probably weak, which I'm going to give as recommendation. And finally, give a word of appreciation so that I leave the overall evaluation in a high note. This is what I would have done. Now, I would welcome our 3 volunteers. We will go one by one and listen to their practice evaluation, and we will see how we can learn from them. So who would like to go first? May I invite Toastmaster Pankaj? Pankaj, can you hear me?
Could you give me just 30 seconds?
Okay, so is Pallavi or Gautam, anybody ready who would like to go proceed?
Same here.
Yes, sir. Please give us 30 seconds, sir.
Okay, my bad. Actually, I should have given a minute's time.
Yeah, Arvind, can I start?
Yes, Pankaj, you may.
What a fantastic speech by Santosh, uh, well-established leader and future leader also. Santosh, the best thing what I liked about your speech was the pace of your speech, the way you had segregated pace with a well-structured speech, the way you had segregated your speech. You started how you first aspired to be a leader in your school, then how gradually you went to your college, then your in your professional life. So the pace with which you were speaking and the structure was also supporting. It was a very vivid description. Even through your description, I recalled how elections used to take place at my school, how I went to my engineering college and the groups were there and things used to happen. So it was a very vivid description. The subtle humor that you had added, for instance, while you were going to meet the vice principal, you related it to the jittery which one feels before a icebreaker. That was very relatable to the audience here. Now, the I would like to suggest to the points on which you need to work more. So, had I been at your place, I would uh, have focused on how I have posed people. Like you said, like your type of second type of leadership that you are into, that you associate yourself as coaching. So, and the people whom you have coached are doing relatively better. So, had you described how they are doing relatively better, that would have been more better and appeared more realistic. Then I would, had I been at your place, I would have taken this opportunity of this speech on subject like leadership. I would have made more usage of the stage. Uh, uh, had I used by having more usage of the uh, stage would have made your speech more effective. So, in the to summarize with, I liked the well-structured speech, the pace of your speech with which you delivered. It was fantastic. And as a recommendation, you need to work slightly on the giving some more personal anecdotes, like you had given on regarding your democratic leadership, but on your coaching leadership also you need to. And this would also have been better had you spoken how you are going to develop your affiliative style in future. So how are you working on that? So I wish you all the best. I see a leader in you, and I've been witnessing you in several events. Santosh, you are doing very well. All the best for your future. Thank you.
Okay. So thank you very much, Pankaj. First thing, I really appreciate that you came forward to try this whole exercise, which is really nice. And I can really see that you have been sincerely following this whole session. You have taken those little aspects of what I was trying to share, and you have followed that structure with the opening, with a very positive note, using words like fantastic. Yes, it feels nice for a speaker when you really mean it. And then your appreciation aspects, you made references to the speech, recommendation in terms of probably using more gestures, that was really good, and trying to have more anecdotes which would have made the qualities convincing. So I'm sure we as a speaker, Santosh is receptive to what you are trying to tell. Now if I may do a evaluation on your evaluation, the summarize aspect of it, we have to keep it really short. You know, It should not look like we are repeating it again. Okay. So just loud and clear voice. If you could work on using your gestures more powerfully on the stage, I'm sure it would have been fantastic. I would love to see more of yours in the future as a great leader of Toastmaster. So punch in the finishing is very, very important to leave it on a high note. So it should not look like a repetition. That one aspect. So just pay attention to it. Thank you very much. Let's move on to our next volunteer who's going to do it. Thank you very much, Pankaj. Next, Gautam, Pallavi, who's ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready. Myself, Gautam this side.
Sure. Welcome, Gautam.
Yeah. I'm audible, sir, right? Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good evening, Toastmasters, and good evening, everyone. Understanding your leadership style. What a start. I really appreciate Santosh. Whatever the speech was related exactly to the title, Understanding Your Leadership Style. The way he starts, that he want to be a leader since from the school time. I really like the way he started from his school time that he want to be a leader. Really a good job. Moment you joined and you want to be a leader, that was your first opportunity. But as you told that during the annual day functions, you were rejected. And though still you didn't feel that you have lost something, and again you got an opportunity in your college that you can become a leader. Yes, of course, that if I could be in your place, definitely bunking the class in mass is not a good thing. And really, that you came to understand that bunking in mass is not good. And the time really came where you have to approach your vice president and you are more nervous. So there was a lesson which you have really learned to follow ethics. That was really nice. That bunking in mass is really not good. I really like the way that you approach that you are the youngest kid in your family and always sacrificing. You have that liberty of having but not giving. I can understand that always youngest kid in the family, all the family member loves the youngest one very well, and you are the one of them. So I really love that part. uh, Adjusting with roommates. Yes, it is not easy to adjust initially with the roommates, but you did it well. And as you also told that in your job, there was also a pending work, and really at that time you cried. When we are really want our gesture to show sometime, then the gesture will be sometime more better way when we tell about our sorrow or our loss or something that's been really happened. So that time I could have feel little much better you could have done. And the last that you really well explained that you do not have to repeat the mistake, and opportunity to help the knowledge you had that you have provided as a mentor in indoor, that was the really best part, that what you want you have achieved. And I really like the way you have really demonstrated your speech very well. And democratic coaching, mentoring, these are the things of leadership style which was very much related to your speech. Understanding your leadership style moving forward, I will hear more from you. Thank you. Over to you, Arvind.
Thank you very much, Gautam. So from the evaluation, what you have given to Santosh, if I may focus on the main area, I felt that there was too much of recap of the points of what Santosh was saying. See, once we have established in the beginning, which you did nicely, that how you were able to connect to the story of what Santosh was sharing in terms of going from school to college, etc. After that, we should not keep going back into too many details of the speech just to convince, you know what, I was listening to your speech. But in that recap, what happens? What is that feedback you are giving kind of is getting lost. So in this case, what can you do? You have access to that feedback form, right? In that, you see that second sheet where you have those specific parameters: voice, clarity, gestures, connection with audience. In those specific aspects, you can keep saying one after the other. Okay, so clarity, I felt this is what it is. In terms of gestures, I feel that it could have been better if you were standing, something like that. You have to cut down that urge to recap those points. That is one area which I would recommend for you to focus on, and keep those technical aspects of a speech in front of you, and go point A, point B, point C, and share your observation on that. Okay, so this is an ongoing practice. Good job for first attempt. Now let's move on to Pallavi, our third and the last evaluator. And I apologize for this time we have exceeded, but she being the last evaluator, please bear with us for 5 more minutes. Thank you
Thank
very
you,
much.
Arvind. Thank
Thanks.
you, Arvind.
Welcome, Gautam. Over to you, Pallavi.
Good evening, everyone. It has been a pleasant experience listening to you, Toastmaster Santosh, to listen your experience of leadership, your leadership journey, how you discovered your primary leadership style. As the project objective is to identify your leadership style and specifically your primary leadership style, you were successful in that. First of all, I would like to tell you about all good things about your speech. I like the way you casually and comfortably narrated so many anecdotes. You were very, very comfortable with body language, with hand gestures. I could see you had a very good eye contact with the audience. You were very comfortable while delivering your speech. Your body language was really good. You casually kept incorporating lots of anecdotes which were related to your experiences of your leadership journey. So this was a very, very good, pleasant experience. Next good point about your speech was that message was absolutely clear. What is your leadership style? Now, coming to the recommendation part, I feel at the end, I would have liked if you would have concluded it better. If I was at your place, I would have quickly summarized everything. Like, this was my first experience. This is how it happened, and this is how, friends, I discovered my leadership style. So, like, conclusion could have been better. I feel so. So maybe the anecdotes which you narrated, if they were little small, they were little shorter in duration, you could have got time to conclude at the end. So this is one thing which I would like you to incorporate if whenever you deliver your next speech coming. And also I would like to tell you about, so it was a very good thing. Your voice modulation was good, your body language was very good, hand gestures were good, eye contact was good. So now I appreciate, I would like to listen to you again. It was a good experience listening to you. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Pallavi. I can see you really did a lot of hard work there to fit into the whole aspect of how to go about giving the feedback. Excellent. I think rather than me doing it and you watching it, this would have given first-hand experience of what it feels like when we are taking part in an evaluation of a speech. So one last point with which I would like to conclude this whole session is that please be sincere in your effort to give that evaluation. We watch a movie and say that was a good movie, bad movie, what we liked, what we did not like. That doesn't mean we can go about and make a great movie. That's not the point. But when I was watching a movie, what did I feel? We share that, right? When you watch a cricket match, you say what this player should have done, right? That sincerity is what will make you a very convincing evaluator. And then comes the aspect of contest. I would suggest please watch the senior Toastmasters, the experts out there who are able to do it so effortlessly. Learn, because it includes the language, the nuances, how they beautifully spin the evaluation, and the kind of words they use. Those things cannot be taught in one short session like this. keep observing from others, keep coming forward, overcome that fear, practice it. I'm sure speakers would connect with you even after the meeting and say, okay, I like what you just said, and I really appreciate the feedback you gave. What else do you have for me? I would like to note it down. When a speaker approaches you, that is when you know you have done justice to the role of an evaluator. So with that note, thank you very much for giving me this opportunity. I hope this session would be fruitful in your journey of Toastmasters to become a better evaluator, to give feedback, to seek feedback, and become that leader that has brought you here. Over to you, Toastmaster Kavita.
What a wonderful 1 hour that we had. Lot of things. I think this 1 hour was not enough. It was like just a teaser for us. Evaluations, we'll need to learn more and more. And we'll keep doing that. We'll keep calling you whenever you are ready to come to us. And I suppose you won't say no to us. In that. Don't you feel what he said was power of three? That was a wonderful thing, which actually takes us ahead. You know, whatever we say, as Toastmasters have been hearing this power of three for the past 3 years, and let's inculcate that power of three in whatever we do. We say best of five, best of three, best three. This is what we learn. Even in when you're giving your results are out, the top three. So the same way, let's bring that three into our evaluations also. And what other thing that I got highlighted by him is the care that he said. Care. I would summarize that. That was a very good acronym, which I would remember now when I have to give an evaluation. Commend, appreciate, recommend, encourage, and then last he said, bring the summarize. So this is the big 2 takeaways that I'll carry with me after this session. And don't you think we need to appreciate him for that? Please help. Please hold on by the time I share my screen to appreciate him. Where is that?
Thank you very much for all the appreciation, but it is my sincere duty to highlight that the acronym of CARE is not something which I came up. It all comes from one of our senior Toastmasters in Agnel, who we always look up as the god of evaluator, DTM Ron Billimoria. He's the one who has inspired us, from whom we have taught, and that's the message we are carrying forward. So all the credit goes to him for that. And I'm sure you can take it forward. It's not copyrighted.
No, I remember what Nikhil had said in his evaluation session, which she gave recently, that you, as an evaluator, I would say is that you have the right to steal from somebody with pride, telling that I have stolen from you. That's what you did today. Thank you for that. I don't know why I'm not being able to share the screen to give you your certificate. What is it? Give me a minute. Let me see why is that I'm not being able to do it. Yes, I got. Yeah, please proceed.
Actually, Santosh wanted to be evaluated by Arvind. Okay.
So Arvind gets the official evaluation script from Arvind. Can you do that, Arvind? Then I will share the screen once again. Go ahead.
Sorry, what I missed that part.
Santosh wanted your evaluation on his speech.
Oh, okay. I wanted to focus more on the learning aspect of it than Santosh. I can bash him up anytime later. But my question is that do you all have the time? We have exceeded the time that was allotted.
I understand, but not an issue. We'll take 5 more minutes. That's not an issue.
Okay, fair enough. So if our timer is ready, then I would like to summarize the aspect of what I did.
Yeah, Give me a minute. Let me share the screen then once again for that. Yes.
Toastmaster Santosh, we have heard you speak in Toastmaster meetings, giving speeches on various topics. And I couldn't connect more than this particular topic where you talked about leadership. From the journey of becoming a leader in Toastmasters, you have time and again proved that there is always learning in it. And in today's speech, that is exactly what you told as a story, starting from your school days, moving on to college, and then all the way up to where you are in your job. And every event, incident in your life has taught something about it. It was very easy for me to follow the message that you wanted to convey, in the same time ensuring that the qualities of leadership that you have been learning all along and how you have become what you are today. And from the delivery aspect of your speech, what I'm really impressed is that you have maintained that calm and composed voice, which is really important for any audience to follow what you're trying to say. Coming to the aspect of what could have been done better, while the storyline and the anecdotes had its ups and downs, somehow I felt that it was not relatable in the vocal variety, as it sounded pretty much flat throughout. When it came to the aspect of pain that you experienced, or the excitement or the anger, as an experienced Toastmaster, if you could have brought more life to the speech in your vocal variety, I'm sure audience would have loved the speech even more. And given that we are restricted within this virtual environment, and you were mostly, the camera arrangement is such that we are able to only see your face, and that too it's kind of little dark. There was not much scope of using your gestures even more powerfully, especially when we are talking about a topic like leadership. So a little camera adjustment and a better lighting would have made us connect with you better, and use of gestures would have conveyed the message even more effectively. Needless to say that this is just one of those uh, events in terms of your Toastmaster journey, and there is going to be a lot more to hear from you as a speaker, as a leader in Toastmasters. We would love to join you and see you grow in the Toastmaster community and learn along the way. Thank you very much for taking time and giving Airoli Club an opportunity to conduct this session. Thanks again.
Thank you. Thank you, Arvind, for that. I hope Santosh is having all smiles on his face after hearing you. So allow me again to share the screen so that I can. Yes. Please put your hands, unmute yourself, and give a big round of applause to Toastmaster Arvind Chandramohan, who graced us at this evening to give us we are a budding club. We, as you say, as you know, we have many of us who are going to be giving our, witnessing the contest itself for the first time and doing evaluations also for the first time. So thanks a lot, Arvind Chandramohan, for having come here and given us an opportunity to hear you and learn from you. Thank you very much. Anyone else who wants to speak to him, please go ahead. We have 2 more minutes, not more than that. If anyone wants to speak.
Pankaj,
Yes, Pankaj. Yes, Pankaj.
Thanks, Arvind, for this is indeed a very valuable session for me. I just wanted to ask you, you said that we should refer to the previous winners or the Toastmasters. So were you referring to the videos on the YouTubes or some other resource?
Of course. There is amazing content on YouTube where we can learn. Again, in that process of learning, we should not end up imitating another person's style. Even within our district, if you look at all the senior Toastmasters, everyone has a different style of delivery. So there is always some element of learning from everyone's speech, delivery, and evaluation, etc. So go ahead and learn from YouTube, as well as when you get to watch, for example, Agnel Club, we have our YouTube channel where we have all our speeches and evaluations posted there. So learn from that, but do not lose your style and identity in that process. So just be aware of that. Be original.
Thanks a lot, Arvind. Thanks a lot.
Hello, Gautam here. Thank you, Arvind, for giving your valuable time. I'm really happy to hear from you. And in future also, it will be, I will be happy to hear from you. Thank you, Arvind.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Kavita.
Welcome. I hope I was of helpful and your 1 hour time was worth it. Thank you.
Dan?
Yeah, Arvind, can you just, can I share your numbers with others if in case they want to have a connect with you later? Yes, thank you. Please, everybody,
Yes,
put
please
on
do
your
share it.
videos
Not a
so
problem.
that we can have a group pic with whoever remaining. I think some of them have dropped off because of network issues. Yes. Arvind, your video is not on, or is it that I'm not seeing it?
I'm there, very much there.
Yeah, there, right. Can somebody say me that Vinayak, your video is not on, Aniket, your video is not on, Karthik, your video is not on. Please put on so that I'm taking a clip. So. Yes. Thank you, everybody. Can somebody else also, I am taking, but if somebody else also can take one more pic, it would be nice. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. And before we this Sunday meeting, please don't forget it's the special Hindi Divas meeting. Okay, thank you
How many
everybody.
participants that